welcome to NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner. And with me today is Dr. Marjorie Stealey, principal of Norview High School. Welcome to NPS Now.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great to have you here. We're going to devote this show today about Norview High School and the great accomplishments of you, the school, and your students. But first, tell me about Norview's great accomplishments here lately.
We've been privileged just recently to be named a breakthrough school by NASSP, the National Association of Secondary School Principals, and we were one of 10 high schools, actually one of 5 high schools and 5 middle schools to be distinguished. And so we just recently presented at a national conference, and we had the opportunity not just only to take 2 students, but also to take 2 adults with us. So it was a great experience, and because of that, we've had other visits and requests for staff and students. And we have just been named by U.S. News & World Report as one of the top 10% of the high schools in the country for not only AP enrollment, but AP performance and what we do for all of our kids for college readiness.
Is this the first time we've been selected for this type of award?
Well, at Norview, yes, and we're really excited about that.
What are you doing to get this type of recognition to Norview?
Well, first, we have just an outstanding staff. Everybody in the building comes to work every day for kids, and so we have talented people, very creative, who offer suggestions, and it's for us to listen, really. And so we try developing programs, we follow our data. If it's outstanding, we keep it, and if it's not, we abandon it. We do a lot of our own professional development in our building for our new staff, and we're constantly looking at what do we need to do better.
Mm-hmm. So in order to have a great school, you got to have a great leader. What are some things that you're doing that's special that you think is helping set your school apart?
Well, first of all, it's all about selecting the staff. Mm-hmm. And so we look very critically about who has the heart to do the work. Mm-hmm. And who wants to constantly improve. So that's number one. It's selecting staff. Number 2 is following the research, and we do that often. We look to find where the evidence says you get the biggest bang for your buck as far as student learning. And so we follow the research. We do a lot of staff development. We look for new and creative ways to engage kids. Mm-hmm. And really it's about the adult leadership that we are building and creating. All of our teachers feel empowered to offer suggestions. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not always that we're doing a great job. Sometimes it's that we need to look differently and think differently, and that's okay. And then from there, it's really about student leadership.
Right.
We have a lot of, we have actually 5 levels of leadership. We're the only school in the country that requires all of our 9th graders to take an entire year of leadership. We believe that lays the foundation for a culture of expectancy, what we expect our kids to do and become, and it's all about greatness.
Right. And you've been at Norview for how many years now?
This is my 21st year as principal.
21st year.
Yes.
Wow. What makes you stay?
I love what I do. There couldn't be a better match for me other than a high school principal. I get the best. I get to help develop teachers, select teachers. I'm in the classroom looking at curriculum and instruction. And then I get to go out in the halls and I get to hear kids, teenagers. Mm-hmm. They leave me message, the kids, every day in my mailbox. So every day I'm seeing and talking personally with teenagers, and I love it.
So not only is the school getting recognition, you're getting recognition, now your students are being recognized. You've got 4 GATE Millennium Scholars 4 years in a row. How does that make you feel?
Yes. Well, it's a culmination of hard work, you know, and to help students achieve that level of scholarship. It's really about the preparation from the time they're in 9th grade. And each and every one of our GATE scholars are just wonderful young women, and now we have Harvey, and our first young man.
And we'll interview him later.
Yes, and we were really excited this year because we had 2 finalists, and both were young men.
Wow.
And so it feels great. When I shared this at a faculty meeting, I mean, the staff went crazy. Because again, that's the hard work, and this is what we want for our kids, is that we want their lives to be changed. You know, when they leave Norview High School, we want their lives to be changed in such a positive way, because what we've been able to help them with.
And you have some $1 million scholarship winners we're going to be interviewing later on too.
Yes.
So
yes.
you all really educate the whole child, and that's something I want to ask you too, because you had a special program, So You're 18. Tell us about that.
Yes, and that was a program just this morning. And, you know, we give a lot to our kids. We have high expectations. There's a culture of expectancy. We expect them to do great things. And then as I look around and read newspapers, there are a whole lot of teenagers, 18-year-olds, who really don't understand the responsibilities, the legal responsibilities that come with that magic number of 18. And I thought if I could give them anything else, it would be maybe a better understanding of the law.
Right.
And so today we had an assembly for our 18-year-olds, and it was a panel of attorneys. We had 2 defense attorneys, we had a sitting judge, we had the vice mayor, and a whole host of attorneys who were there for support, to share from 5 different areas just what it means now that you're 18. What are the legal responsibilities?
Right.
Everything from contracts to separation and divorces to
Possibly how you can get in trouble now that you're 18. You're
absolutely.
an adult. Yeah.
And you know, some of the questions were like, a student said, is it true that if you get stopped for speeding, let's say 15 or 20 miles over, and you don't pay your traffic fine, that the next time you're stopped, you could actually be handcuffed and go to jail? And the answer was absolute yes.
Yes, yeah.
And so those are questions that we don't talk about, I think, often enough. And so lots of really good questions, and I was so honored that we had so many attorneys and our vice mayor and a sitting judge who wanted to share that with our kids. I just thought it was awesome.
And I know that's one of many unique programs that Norview High School offers its students. And I want to thank you for coming on today, and I hope you stay tuned and watch the other interviews we'll have later as we highlight more about Norview High School. So thank you for joining us today on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now. Welcome back to NPS Now. With us now is Norview High School seniors Jada Lane Ferrer and Robert Hall. Welcome you all to NPS Now.
Thank you.
This is an exciting time of the year for you, isn't it? Graduation time.
It is. It's just nerve-wracking to see how far we've came and where we will go pretty soon.
Well, you guys can be called, your principal mentioned to me that you were the $1 million babies.
That's what our instructor likes to call us, yeah.
The $1 million babies. You all received scholarships alone, separately, for over $1 million. That's exciting.
Yes.
That is very exciting. So, tell me, when you were offered that much money, what did you all think?
Well, for me personally, it didn't hit me at all because I didn't see how important it was at the time, because I chose one of them essentially, and now that I'm looking back and I'm seeing everybody else's, and I'm just like, wow, I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I have no idea how I did it.
What did you think when you were offered $1 million worth of scholarships?
Honestly, I want to know if I can get all the money. But I don't think that was going to happen.
Wow. So tell me, what are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to Naval Academy Preparatory School in July, and then I'll spend a year there, followed by then I will be at the Naval Academy for 4 years, majoring in electrical engineering, and hopefully become a pilot.
And all of that money is going to cover that
Yes, ma'am.
education in the future.
All of
career
it is
goals.
covered.
What about you, Jadaline?
Starting July 2nd, I'll be attending the United States Military Academy in West Point, New York for the next 4 years. And I have no idea what I'm going to major in, but I have plenty of time to figure that out. I'll regardless graduate with a bachelor's of science and then hopefully branch off into military intelligence.
Now, are your parents in the military? Is that why you chose the military careers?
Well, I can honestly say my dad is in the military, but the reason I chose it was because I felt it was my duty to take the family to the next level, honestly. My dad enlisted, and we've had others in my family that enlisted. I'll be the first to, one, go to college and earn a degree, two, and be the first officer. But my family, my father, uncle, they've all played a big role in this, including NJROTC in the area that I'm in. They've all played a big role into this decision.
What about you, Jadaline?
I'll actually be the first in my immediate family. For me, ROTC decided that it was a deciding factor that I was going to join the military. At first I wanted to be an architect, but I had no idea how to draw, and I didn't like drawing. And once I joined ROTC, I learned that I liked the lifestyle, the environment, and everything about it, and so I knew that's where I had to go.
So what are your GPAs?
Mine is a 3.61.
3.61?
Yes, ma'am.
If I can recall correctly, weighted, it's like a 4.63.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're in what? Top 1, 2?
I'm second in my class.
Second in your class.
And number 31.
Number 31. Sounds like you guys have had a full high school career. Who at Norview has inspired you the most?
At Norview, it would have to be my Navy ROTC instructors and Miss Arroyo, my leadership teacher. I mean, they've both taught me how to be a leader. Well, they gave me the skills, told me, hey, we studied different leaders from Lao Tzu to Machiavelli, and I've taken bits and pieces from each kind of leader that we've studied, and I've developed that into my own leadership style. In ROTC, I was able to put that leadership style to work and use it effectively, take bits and pieces and change some things, and use what worked best for me and others.
And who's inspired you, Jadaline?
For school-wise, it has to be all three of my ROTC instructors. I have two of them that were in the Navy and one of them was in the Marines, so they all three have their own styles. One was with subs, one was with ships, and one was a double dog, and they all have their own personalities, and I've adapted to each one of theirs and taken little bits and pieces from theirs and developed it in my own.
So how has Norview, you believe, in your own words, prepared you all for your future careers?
Well, for me, it was between the LCSC program at Norview or IB at Granby. At first, I actually didn't get into LCSC. I had to retake the entrance exam, and my mom would not let me do regular honors courses, so I had to be in a specialty program. But I wanted, at the time, I was more interested in math and science, and so Norview was a better pick for me. Also, I heard rumors about the RTC program being top-notch in the area, and so that drew me there. And all of a sudden, I get put into these advanced math classes with people who were just like me. They were hardworking, extremely motivated, and all of the classes and opportunities just put me in the right place, and I made the right connections.
How about for you, Robert?
I also had the same decision between IB at Granby and leadership at Norview, and I chose leadership. It was just, really, I chose Norview over Granby and any other school in the district because I didn't want to go to Lake Taylor with my brother. I didn't want to be Marquise's little brother.
Oh, you
I wanted to be
your
my
own.
own person. I didn't want to follow in his footsteps. I wanted to be my own person. Unlike Jada, I did not hear any rumors about ROTC. I heard, well, the only rumor I did hear was they like to do push-ups. I'm like, okay, push-ups it is. So I was originally in the engineering course, and then I switched out of that and joined ROTC. And from day one, I kind of just like fell in love with it. Got involved on the drill team, PT team, and so on. I got really deep into it. And like I said, that's played a big factor in why I chose to go to a service academy.
And I'm sure your family members are very, very proud of your academic success at Norview. How do you think you're going to feel the day that you walk across that stage and grab your diploma?
The day of, I don't think it's going to hit me. I'm just starting to feel the nervousness about graduating because I had to look at my work schedule and realize that this weekend and next weekend are the last two weekends that I'll be able to work before I leave. But once I'm walking across the stage, I know that I don't have to do high school anymore, and I don't have to worry about AP exams and stuff like that, but I know I have 4 years ahead of me, and so it was just a ending of one chapter and a beginning of another.
What about for you, Robert?
I'm just waiting for graduation day to come.
Just ready.
Just ready. Walk across the stage, get my diploma, and move on with my life, open another chapter. And then when I'm able to come back, give back to the community, give back to Norview.
Right, and June 4th is going to be a very special day for the two of you. That's when you're going to be signing with the different places that you're going.
Yes, ma'am.
They've contacted us, I'm sure, yeah.
So I know your family's excited. What is your mom and dad thinking?
Well, my dad, he's always told me all my life, no matter what route I decide to do, he's always going to be proud of me. My mom originally was, I don't want my baby to go into the military, all right? But eventually she realized that it's what I wanted. And so
Right.
she was all 100% just supporting me all the way through from day one to this day and for the future.
Right.
For me, it's rather similar. My mother didn't want me to go into the military at all. She had bad thoughts about it until I finally convinced her that I wouldn't be on the front line or directly in combat, so she lessened up about it.
Right,
My
right.
dad was just excited that he wouldn't have to pay for school.
And a lot of parents are happy, and I know a lot of parents that are going to watch this show wish that they could have some of your money that's left over. Well, we are very proud of you in Norfolk Public Schools, and we're excited about your future. And yes, we do want to hear about our great alumni and the great things that they're doing. So thank you all for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Of course.
And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now. Welcome back to NPS Now. With us to round out the great information about Norview High School is Harvey Waters, a senior at Norview High School, and Tracy Penny, who's the academic advisor at Norview. Thank you two for joining us here on NPS Now.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Great to have you. And we're, like I said, we're rounding out our segment on Norview High School and the great academic opportunities that our students are involved in. The $1 Million Babies were here.
Yes.
Jada, Lynn, and Robert, and your principal was here. So we're glad to have you, our newest Gates Millennium Scholar winner. Great to have you here. Tell me something. When you got notification that you were a Gates Millennium Scholar, what did you think?
I knew I had a lot going. I knew I had a lot to prepare for. My next years in college were going to be rough ones because I knew since I didn't have the financial burden anymore, I had to pile on the academics. So I already had a plan set out, so I was going to follow the script that I already written for my double major and my one minor, and I knew that once I completed this phase, I would move on to the next one that would be exceptionally more difficult, but I would have to advance myself so I could handle
So
it.
when you got that letter, how did you feel? What raced through your mind?
It was a feeling of success, and at the same time, I had gotten what I wanted to move on to a more difficult level of academics. And
So how did they notify you? Did they send you a letter? Did they call you?
for the actual scholarship winners, we got a packet in the mail, and it was a white packet, and on it said Gates Millennium Scholarship Foundation. I'm pretty sure that's what it said. And I opened it, and there was a folder on the inside, and it had our certificate and multiple pages of information.
Wow. How did mom and dad react?
Well, they weren't in immediately when I got the letter, so I told my mom first because she's the one that came home first, and then I showed my dad, and they were pretty proud.
So how did you learn about applying for this particular scholarship?
I believe it was the previous year when, I'm pretty sure, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but Miss Penny had gave a little, not an orientation, but a seminar talking about scholarships, and the Gates was one of them. And so I knew immediately that I would apply for that scholarship.
So Tracy, how many students have you inspired to apply for this scholarship?
Oh, we've had, oh gosh, I would say over 100 to apply. To actually receive the scholarship, we've had a total of 4 in the past 5 years.
Out of the 100 students that you encouraged to apply?
Yes, and that's been over, oh gosh, maybe over 10 years.
What made you push for these students to apply for this scholarship?
Because I know at Norview High School, we push for all of our students to apply for scholarships. And I knew this one was the biggest one, and it would afford our seniors just endless opportunities if they were to win this one.
So why do you think it's so important to get your minority students? Because that's what the Gates Millennium Scholarship
Right,
is
it is a
for.
minority scholarship, yes. Because a lot of times the minority students have a hard time, I guess, following through on completing applications to begin with. And so at Norview, we try to really push our seniors constantly with scholarships and applying to college.
So why do you think for 4 years straight you have had Gates Millennium Scholar winners, 3 females and 1 male? Or do we have more winners that we don't know about?
No, we've only had 4 at Norview.
Okay.
We work really hard at Norview. I know that I meet with the students before Thanksgiving. The scholarship, I give them in 2 pieces. The scholarship is it's 8 essays. And that normally deters a lot of students to complete the application because it's 8 essays. So I break it up into pieces. I give them 1 piece, just basic information about the classes they've taken, and who they're looking at, recommending or nominating them. And then I meet with them after Thanksgiving, and they will give me that first piece, and then I will give them the second piece, which will entail the essays. And then we have our staff, mainly the English department, will review the essays for the students. And then we send it off in January.
How did you mentally prepare yourself to do this application?
Well, actually, I knew that senior year was going to be an exceptionally stressful year for me. So I began in the summer when the application first came out. I took a week to do scholarships that I had already set out. So since the Gates was the biggest one, the one that took the most amount of effort, I took that week to write the essays, well, at least the first 7. So over that week, I wrote the 7 essays that I knew that I already had the information for. So
What were some of the essays about?
let's see. There were two essays. They asked what were your strongest subjects, what were your weakest subjects, what was a challenge you faced before in your life. What else were there? One was asking, the 8th one actually, it was asking anything that you haven't already told us, what would you like to tell us? And,
It's
it was
intense.
Yes.
It's got to be intense, and you probably blocked it out your mind right now because you won. Wow. So the monies that you receive from Gates Millennium Scholarship, what does that afford you with college now?
They pay for the cost of attendance that isn't already covered. So what your college gives you, whatever financial aid your college gives you, they won't overpay for that, and they don't pay for the EFC from the expected family contribution. They won't cover that either, but everything else is pooled in to pay for the
So
other.
you can do what? Your bachelor's degree, your master's degree, and a PhD? How long does it last?
10 years.
10 years.
10 years.
Wow.
Yes.
That's powerful. So where you decide to go to college now?
I'm going to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, Daytona Beach, Florida, and that's where I'll study. That's where I intend to study aerospace and mechanical engineering and do my minor in entrepreneurship.
Wow. How much does it cost to go to Embry-Riddle?
Cost of attendance is, well, the tuition in the room board is $44,000, and the cost of attendance is somewhere around $47,000. So, yeah.
Wow. We're very proud of Norview High School. What advice would you give a rising junior or sophomore about this Gates Millennium Scholarship packet?
Start early, definitely, and take the time to prepare yourself to write these essays. You actually have to take time to consider yourself, who you are, what you've done, to write stories in these essays that are exceptional and actually meet the level of other Gates Millennium Scholars and surpass some of their levels so that you can stand out and so that you can show who you really are in these essays.
Wow, to be this successful, Tracy, with getting so many Gates Millennium Scholarship winners, I understand Portsmouth has 1 and Virginia Beach has 7. Do you find yourself wanting to share information with our other guidance counselors from the other schools and
yes,
say,
and I
hey,
do.
you guys really, you need to try this?
And yes, and I do. We have we've had several scholarship meetings, and I do share what I've done to produce Gates winners at Norview with the other scholarship chairs.
Why do you think, and this is interesting to me, for us to have 4 years in a row, what do you think that's in their essays or in their packets that's so compelling that the Gates Millennium reviewers of these applications are selecting our students here at Norview?
I just know Norview has exceptional students.
Yeah.
I do. We have exceptional students at Norview High School. And when you really get to know and read about our students, it makes you want to select them and help them on to the next level.
Great.
Because there are 3 pieces to the application. Someone has to nominate the student, and someone also has to recommend the student. And that person has to also write essays. So in addition to Harvey's 8 essays, the other 2 people have to write around 3 essays.
Wow.
Right, so it's a packet, so they get to know really who that student has become and who they might become later on in life.
Wow. Well, congratulations to you, Harvey.
Thank you.
Great job, and congratulations to you too, Ms. Penny, because you've been very instrumental in having our students apply for this Gates Millennium Scholarship and been successful in doing so, and we finally have a male winner.
Yes!
Out of 3. And we look forward to more winners coming from Norview and throughout Norfolk Public Schools. Hopefully you've inspired some other seniors, rising seniors, to apply for this scholarship. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Great to have you all here on the show.
Thank you.
And we want to thank you for watching NPS Now. It airs weekly on Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. Again, we want to thank you for watching NPS Now.